jets coming from the objects out to 1,000,000 kilometers away. And the fundamental question, are these jets produced by pockets of ice that are warmed by sunlight, or maybe they are the result of thrusters associated with a technological spacecraft? So these are the kinds of questions that I hope we will resolve in the coming weeks.
From the very first second, the viewer is dropped into a discovery that should not exist. Scientists stare at the newest Hubble images in disbelief because 3I Atlas is doing something no comet in history has ever done. Its two razor-sharp jets shoot out in perfect alignment, as if engineered, and behind it stretches a 60,000-kilometer anti-tail that behaves like it is obeying a command. Instead of drifting away from the sun, like every dust structure in the universe is supposed to, this tail locks itself toward the sun, refusing to bend, refusing to sway, refusing to react to solar wind, gravity, or the comet's own motion. It behaves like a compass needle glued to one direction, a direction that physics says is impossible. Astronomers reviewing the November 30th Hubble data admit something they rarely say out loud. Nothing about this makes sense. Solar radiation pressure should push dust outward, but 3I Atlas pushes dust inward, as if something is pulling it, pinning it, or guiding it. The tail acts like it is being held by an invisible magnetic grip, one that rotates perfectly to face the sun no matter where the comet travels. When scientists apply the Larsen-Scanina filters, the situation gets worse. The jets appear unnervingly symmetrical, almost mirror-perfect, behaving less like chaotic outgassing and more like coordinated emissions. Weeks of observing confirm the same fear. The tail's position never changes. Not with Earth's movement. Not with the comet's movement. Not even when 3I Atlas reversed direction at perihelion, a moment when every natural comet tail would swing violently. But this one didn't move an inch. This is not dust following physics. This is dust following orders. Astronomers can no longer hide behind optical illusion. Different telescopes, different angles, different days, yet the same forbidden straight line appears again and again. The anti-tail is a structure, not an error. A behavior, not an accident. A signal, possibly intentional, written across tens of thousands of kilometers of space. And then comes the detail that terrifies even the calmest scientists. 3I Atlas is accelerating while doing this. Natural comets don't accelerate smoothly. They flicker, brighten, wobble. But this object is getting faster with no visible force pushing it, yet its tail remains perfectly sun-locked, like two separate systems running on two separate rules. Researchers whisper a question no one wants to put on record. What kind of object can accelerate against physics while maintaining a tail that behaves like a controlled instrument? Because if this tail is a message, someone or something might be guiding it. And just as that observatories prepare to release their next set of images, a new anomaly begins to emerge, one so disturbing that it forces scientists to rewrite everything they thought they understood about 3I Atlas. And that's where the next part begins. From the very first second, the viewer is thrown into chaos. 3I Atlas did something no natural object has ever done. As it passed perihelion, its closest, hottest, most violent moment near the sun, astronomers watched its trajectory on their screens suddenly bend. Not gradually, not drifting, but snapping into a new direction with the precision of engineered machinery. Orbital dynamicists froze. The numbers didn't match. A comet is supposed to follow gravity like a slave to physics, yet 3I Atlas simply walked off its predicted path and began turning toward Jupiter's region, a place where tracking becomes weak, blind, and uncertain. And in the middle of this impossible turn, the anti-tail never moved. It stayed locked to the sun like a compass needle glued in place. The comet's body rotated, curved, and redirected, but its tail behaved like it belonged to a different object entirely. To scientists on the ground, this wasn't strange anymore. It was terrifying, because this shouldn't happen. If the body turns, the tail must swing. If the object changes direction, the dust must follow. That's how comets work. That's how physics works. Yet 3I Atlas violated every rule at the exact same moment. The voiceover tightens the tension. It's like a car reversing at full speed while its exhaust continues blowing toward the front bumper, or like a ship turning around while its wake stays frozen behind it. Nature does not behave this way unless something else is influencing it. Scientists scramble for explanations. Is the object shedding materials no human has ever seen? Is it releasing a controlled jet aligned with the sun? Or is the structure of the object, its chemistry, its core, its composition, so alien that sunlight itself interacts with it differently? Inside observatories, veteran astronomers admit something quietly. This isn't just a comet acting weird. This is a comet behaving like two separate systems, as if the tail is obeying one rule book and the body another. And then comes the moment that tightens every stomach in every control room. The perihelion reversal is the exact moment 3I Atlas began accelerating unnaturally. No debris burst, no brightness spike, no outgassing signature, just a silent, steady push in a direction no comet chooses on its own. The outline ends with a pulse of dread. If 3I Atlas can change direction once, what happens when it enters Jupiter's gravitational domain? What will it do next? And what, if anything, is controlling it? The next part begins with the anomaly scientists fear most. From the very first second, the viewer is dropped into the most terrifying revelation yet. 3I Atlas is accelerating in a direction no natural force should allow. Astronomers across multiple observatories stare at their orbital plots, blinking in disbelief. The predicted path of the object, calculated using the gold standard models of celestial mechanics, no longer matches reality. The difference is small, but it is steady, consistent, and impossibly deliberate. In the world of comets, acceleration is supposed to be messy, chaotic. Outgassing usually kicks a comet in random directions, producing brightness spikes, broken jets, and a tail that thrashes like smoke in a storm. But 3I Atlas isn't doing any of that. Instead, it glides through space with a smooth, silent push, a push that lines up perfectly with the same forbidden direction implied by its anti-tail. Scientists whisper what nobody wants to say aloud. This is not how anything natural accelerates. The fear grows when Hubble's newest readings confirm the worst. There's no sign of rapid sublimation, no bursts of gas, no pressure waves, no chaotic dust signatures. Whatever is causing the acceleration is not gas-based propulsion, not ice melting, not solar radiation pressure. The data points to something far stranger. Some researchers now suspect that 3I Atlas might be shedding solid material, ultra-dense fragments that do not behave like dust at all. These pieces drift off the object in slow, controlled sheets, moving in ways that don't match gravity, light pressure, or any known physics. They seem immune to sunlight. immune to dispersion, immune to randomness. Others fear a different possibility, unknown surface chemistry interacting with radiation in ways Earth has never seen. Or worse, deliberate directional release, as if the object is pushing itself on purpose. The scientific horror becomes undeniable when the narration reveals the contradiction at the heart of the anomaly. The body of 3Y Atlas accelerates away from the sun. Yet the anti-tail pulls toward the sun. Both motions cannot be natural at the same time. Both cannot obey physics the way we understand them. One of them is lying, or both are revealing something humanity has never encountered. Astronomers begin to fear that 3I Atlas isn't just defying known forces, it might be using them, bending them, responding to them in ways that look disturbingly intentional. And as observatories prepare their next round of measurements, one question spreads through every control room, every Slack channel, every late-night emergency briefing. If something is controlling this acceleration, what is it preparing for next? And that's exactly where the next part begins. From the moment the footage appears on screen, the viewer is thrown straight into rising panic. 3I Atlas is no longer behaving like a single object at all. Astronomers now admit, quietly, nervously, that the anomaly count has passed 15, and every new set of images tears another page out of the cosmic rule book. One anomaly could be dismissed. Two might be strange. But 15? That is structure. That is intent. That is something acting according to rules science does not yet understand. Amateur astronomers working night after night have captured images that make professionals uneasy. They show multiple jets firing from different locations, but not in the chaotic spray typical of comets. These jets look aligned, almost synchronized, as if something inside the object is coordinating its emissions. Even more disturbing is the appearance of a secondary tail, longer, sharper, and behaving as if it were an independent structure tethered to an invisible core. The viewer feels the tension spike as the narration explains no natural comet grows a tail that behaves like a blade. Then comes the real shock. Brightness mapping from the past week shows clusters of luminous points moving around the main body, not drifting, not spreading out, but orbiting, staying in formation as if obeying a central command. Scientists refuse to say fragments publicly because fragments drift. These do not. These remain tight, coherent, stable, even as solar radiation pressure should scatter them in every direction. They shouldn't exist. Yet they do. This leads to the terrifying question scientists now whisper behind closed doors. Is 3I Atlas a single object or a swarm? The rule book collapses further when telescopes detect dust sheets appearing where no sunlight angle could possibly create them. Structures emerge where nothing should exist, vanishing and reappearing as if the object itself is changing shape or being shielded by something. These formations behave less like natural dust and more like panels, drifting into geometric alignments before dissolving again. The viewer is pushed to the edge as the narration warns, if these fragments are real, they may not follow 3I Atlas on its exit path. They could remain behind, trapped in solar orbit, outliving the main body, silently circling our sun long after the object disappears into the darkness beyond Jupiter. And that leads to the fear scientists do not want to discuss publicly. What if the swarm is only revealing the first layer? What if more structures appear as the object moves deeper into the outer system? Because the latest images show something even stranger forming at the object's rear, something that does not match dust, gas, or debris. And whatever it is, it will force scientists to confront an even bigger anomaly in the next phase. From the very first line, the danger is immediate. 3I Atlas is no longer drifting through the inner solar system, it is accelerating into Jupiter's gravitational domain, a region scientists privately call the blackout zone. Once an object enters Jupiter's hill sphere, monitoring becomes unreliable, data becomes fragmented, and the window for analysis slams shut. And now, the world is watching an interstellar visitor already guilty of breaking 15 physical rules vanish into that darkness. Scientists speak carefully on record, but off the microphone, their fear is impossible to hide. The object is moving too fast, too smooth, too deliberate. It is outrunning every prediction, every model, every simulation. There is no spacecraft humanity can launch in time, no probe fast enough to catch it. Whatever 3I Atlas truly is, it will remain untouched. The mystery deepens when astronomers replay the perihelion data. Why did it turn? Why now? Why toward Jupiter, the one place where its behavior becomes nearly impossible to track? There is no gravitational logic, there is no chemical explanation, and yet the object holds its perfect sun-locked anti-tail as if obeying an invisible rule written behind the physics humans understand. Then comes the darkest question scientists refuse to ask publicly. What if the perihelion maneuver was not random, but a choice? If 3I Atlas performs even one more trajectory shift inside Jupiter's sphere, the truth may never be known. It could slingshot away into deep space. It could loop back into the inner system. It could slide into a stable orbit, a permanent ghost circling our sun. And because of its speed, humanity would learn about that maneuver only after it has already happened. The dread intensifies as the timeline tightens. December 19th. February, March. 3 narrow windows, 3 chances for Hubble, juice, stereo, and punch to capture enough data before the object vanishes. After that, Earth loses it forever. Or worse, watches it return with unknown intent. The final reports leak a chilling possibility. The acceleration, the jet symmetry, the anti-tail, the fragment coherence. None of them behave like ice, dust, or gas. Something else is happening inside that object, something no telescope can resolve, something that does not want to be understood. And as 3I Atlas approaches Jupiter, crossing into the shadows where cameras fail and predictions collapse, astronomers realize the truth they've been avoiding. This visitor is leaving. And it is not leaving the way it came. The screen fades to black because the next part begins the moment it enters Jupiter's domain. From the very first second, the viewer is thrown straight into the most unsettling discovery yet. The newest Larsen-Scanina filtered images show something that should be impossible. 3I Atlas is not tumbling, not spinning chaotically, not behaving like any melting, outgassing comet ever seen in human history. Instead, the object's rotational signature looks controlled, stabilized, almost maintained. Scientists stare at the December data in disbelief. Rotational gradient analysis normally reveals the wild, uneven spin of a natural ice body cracking under solar heat. But here, the gradients repeat in clean, symmetrical patterns that look less like random physics and more like timed intervals, as if the jets themselves are firing in a sequence. Jet, pause, jet, pause. Identical angles, identical spacing, identical geometry. Nothing about this is natural. The tension spikes as astrophysicists realize what this means. Chaotic sublimation should destabilize a comet, knocking it off balance. But 3I Atlas remains perfectly steady, as if something inside is counteracting every shove from solar radiation, as if something is keeping it balanced on purpose. Even worse, the jets don't behave like normal vents at all. They act like fixed nozzles, holding a steady position, refusing to drift despite the extreme forces acting on the object. Every time a new image comes in, Hubble, juice, punch, stereo, the same terrifying truth emerges. The object is holding its orientation toward the sun with unnatural precision, not wobbling, not rolling, not drifting by even a few degrees. To astronomers, this is the moment when curiosity turns into fear. If the object is holding its face toward the sun, the question becomes unavoidable. Why? What is it trying to collect? What is it trying to align with? What is it synchronizing to? Some researchers whisper the possibility no one wants to say publicly. If 3I Atlas is maintaining a controlled rotational state, then none of the 15 anomalies are random. The anti-tail pointing at the sun, the direction change at perihelion, the non-gravitational acceleration, the swarm-like debris, the symmetrical jets. They are not separate mysteries. They are functions of a single hidden mechanism operating within the object. And as the rotational data grows clearer, a darker question begins to form inside every observatory. If the object is keeping itself oriented deliberately, what happens when it finally turns?